Hello there. It's March 28th, Saturday. Going to Los Angeles to ride with a group and see how it goes. It was a really nice day out. Traffic wasn't terrible. It was decent. It took me like 45 minutes to an hour to get there. There was a second group also going around. Like right when I pulled into the lot, there was another large group of people on bikes going by. This was cool. They were handing out like shirts, drinks by Blue Energy. Again, I don't think it was sponsored by them in any way or anything like that. It was just a promptu that they had said they would be at. From there on, it was about time to get going and take off from the parking lot. I don't know how many people there were exactly, but there was a good amount of people all on bikes, all having a great time. What up, Tonka? Again, it's such a crazy day, like how nice it is, and the time of day with the sun hitting it at like that perfect color and angle. It's just super nice to be outside that day. And it's wild to see all these people riding and the police not being able to do anything about it. And I think it's not that they can't do anything about it, it's just there's other things going on that are way more urgent than people on bikes. Because there were supposed to be a few large protests today as well throughout the city, and I get like a text later on saying to avoid a certain area in LA. This mural was really cool though. I thought it was pretty. It made me think of like tiles. It's crazy how talented some of these people are and their ability to ride so effortlessly doing like prolonged wheelies and or other tricks. I don't know, again, I don't do any of that, I just ride because I like to. But it's still cool to see other people do it because they're getting to experience something that like I don't get to experience besides watching. So that's a pretty cool like level of freedom for themselves, I guess. I don't know. The amount of people who don't get upset either with the amount of people on bikes riding around and blocking traffic is also kind of cool, because it definitely seems like it could be an issue and bother some people. But even with that, the majority of the horns being honked are everybody on the bikes making sure that people at the intersections don't come through and they see everybody. But if you find yourself and you like the video, then you should subscribe and like it. Comment on it saying it was you. You know, I don't know. And again, like I said, I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just here documenting and existing this whole thing and nothing more. Because what point is there to have anything else more than what it is? I'm just happy that I get the opportunity to go and ride around and capture cool shots of people on their bikes. That's something that I found really fun and something that I really enjoy doing because it gives me the opportunity to de-stress as well. And since the cameras are all just action cameras recording Insta360s, I have 3 on my bike. That's why I have multiple angles. And I mean, I think it helps really tell the story when you have the ability to have a front and back as well as the camera on your helmet. That is kind of the free motion that you can turn in any direction. But also when you have a 360, you can turn it in any direction also. So that's super cool about them. And again, just with the time of day, the lighting, everything, the quality of the cameras, it all looks really cool. Something that I've noticed, like, and it's probably maybe just myself, but maybe other people also see it, is that if you remember back to like the late 90s, early 2000s, you had everybody wanting to do skateboarding. So it seems like this is the same kind of energy, the same kind of emotion, feeling behind, like, all of these groups that I've noticed, like from this specific one to other groups that have posted write-outs throughout Los Angeles and Southern California. It all seems to be very much that same energy as the early 2000s, late 90s skateboard culture. And I think that's really cool because it's basically being able to relive that kind of like nostalgic feeling, but also not being, let's see, I was maybe like 10 around that time, so I didn't get to experience it the way others did. So this, in a sense, feels kind of like a revitalization of that same kind of energy and like marketplace, I guess, because it just seems like there's so much money going into this, just like there was so much money going into extreme sports back then. And with how many people there are that are talented and wild riders who are signed to so many different companies, again, it's very reminiscent of I gotta get signed to this skate company, that skate company, and I don't know, it's just interesting seeing that because, again, like I said, I was 10 when the skateboard thing happened. So again, there's a bubble, just like with skateboarding, that is gonna burst at some point with the bikes. And that's interesting to see. It might have already even happened already, but if it hasn't, it is definitely on the rise. So give it a year or two, maybe, and see how the market is going to still look. It could be completely different and completely spike. I don't know. I am not an economist. So this encounter was super cool. I had seen this man in a video that Preston Goes had made the other day where he had made a stealth camping dumpster and had it outside of the Canes, and this gentleman was also in it, and I had just seen it like literally the day before I went on my ride. So while being out there seeing him, I decided, I was like, you know what, it probably would make his day if I said, hey, I recognize you from a video I just saw. So I did just that, and he had a big smile on his face. So that made me feel really good, and I hope that truly did brighten his day a bit. And again, thank you, Preston, for allowing me to include that little bit in my video. And everybody, please go check out Preston's video because it's super cool. This is like the second stealth camping dumpster thing he's done, and it's really something to watch. So check it out. Thankfully, I didn't see too many people fall or crash. I think there was like one or two that happened behind me that I just didn't see, I just heard. But for the most part, it seemed like everybody was pretty safe. And that was also a pretty cool thing because things can always change and the road's always different. I'm not even sure what this was. This had to be some kind of anime concert thing at the Wiltern. They were all stoked and like cheering everybody on when we were riding past, but like I'm not even entirely sure what their event was. But it looked cool. Also went to school there for makeup and special effects, so it's cool being able to leisurely ride through downtown and see places that I've gone to school at and or worked in the adjacent area of on films, and seeing how the area changes but really doesn't change at the same time. Again, it's so weird being in downtown with like this kind of camera lens because you can just capture all those buildings and it gives that real like Inception kind of look unintentionally. I don't know. But again, it was such a pretty day. It makes everything look really cool, and I think that just played to like the advantages of everything because the subject is cool. People on bikes, and like the time of day while we're riding is also like peak for like the best color and everything like that for the camera. So I don't know, I was super stoked, and I had been waiting to get some really cool shots on the 6th Street Bridge, and on the past 2 ride outs, my camera had already died by the time we got to here. So I was super stoked that I had 2 cameras still going. I think maybe even 3. One had died right after getting up here, but I was happy I was finally able to get some shots of myself and others and all of that on the 6th Street Bridge because that's what you guys make to be such an iconic area. And each of the past times I've been on it, my camera was already dead, so I'm happy I got to have some cool shots of it. And again, I wouldn't have these shots if it wasn't for all these amazing writers out here who are doing all this crazy stuff to actually have as the subject. Because otherwise it's just I'm riding around with a camera on a bike, and it wouldn't be as engaging or interesting, I guess, if there weren't these amazingly talented people who are all doing such crazy things. And it's probably not even that big of a deal for them, but like again, for somebody who doesn't attempt to even try tricks, it looks super cool, like magic, and just how you guys do it is awesome. The whole community that this like group has is also pretty cool because it kind of also reminds me of like the show scene. Like if you're in a pit and you fall down, people typically help you get back up. And like same in this thing, if somebody does fall, like I've noticed like the group will kind of stop around them to block cars to make sure they're able to get back up and get on their bike. And again, that's a big thing as well with this entire thing, is being able to get back up after like you've taken a spill. So again, that's always a really cool aspect of this community and activity, is that like when you fall, it is always good to get back up because it's more of a mental shock over physical one a lot of the times, unless you are actually physically hurt from the fall. I understand that and not forcing yourself to get back on it right then. But again, the analogy of like getting back up after you fall has been incredibly reinforced for me recently, especially after learning how to ride a motorcycle. When we got the text saying avoid Alameda Street because there were unlawful assembly and there were multiple helicopters leaving the station right there from the roof at that point. Still, they weren't going after the people on the bikes, which was really cool because, again, they were larger issues at hand, and even while we were riding, we didn't see any unrest or groups that were unlawfully assembled. Everything seemed honestly very quiet today in Los Angeles, which was really weird as well. Like, you could definitely feel there was tension in the air when you got out here, because typically the city's loud and you can hear everything. It still had that same level of like loudness and bass in the background of like everything moving, but everything else felt very off, very quiet, like something was about to happen, but nothing really did in my mind. Because I guess like even some writers went to try and find that later on, and it seemed like it was just hyped up by media to make it seem like it was worse than it was. So again, I don't know. You be the judge on that one. I'm not really invested too strongly on that either. It's just an observation. It is interesting though. Yeah, thankful that nobody that I saw was injured or hurt, and it seemed like a very successful group ride. And that's always positive and a beneficial experience, because there were some other people here before we left this area. Like right now, I asked if they were going to ride back to the same parking spot because I didn't want to ride back by myself. So they had expressed that this was their first time riding the bikes here as well, and that yes, it would be cool to ride back as a group as well. So that was also very nice and comforting, knowing that I could still find my way back, even though I have my phone, I could have looked it up, but I'd rather go with the group, you know? Just in case. Because again, the city changes when the sun goes down. So it's always better to be with the group. So just some of these shots, just with the architecture, the lighting, the silhouettes of the city in the background right here, it's just so wild to see. Like, I understand why people like this area, but again, it's also just looks unreal half the time. But I finally got to ride through this tunnel, and it's been something I've been wanting to do for a while, because last time, again, I needed to head home, and since I rode my actual bikes all the way from home to LA, I wasn't really wanting to go too much further after riding for like 2 or 3 hours. But I'm happy I got to ride through it this time. Just because I've wanted those shots. Again, I'm not selling anything. I'm not expecting much from any of these videos that I make with riding, because everybody does it. But again, this is more of just fun for me. It's a way to relieve stress, and like, I know that one day, like, if YouTube is still around, like, my kids can watch this stuff when I'm dead, and like, their kids can watch it. So like, that's another thing that I think is cool, is at least leaving some kind of like silly thing for them to be able to experience and watch when I'm gone. So that's again another huge drive behind like doing some of this, is because if I don't get remembered for like the work I've done in the entertainment industry, theme parks and haunts, which I probably won't because of how I've been treated in that community, like, I'm happy to do my own thing and just excel on my own because I don't need them. And again, that's also part of this, because this is me getting back up and not staying down. Because again, I have this now, and it's something that keeps me grounded and keeps me happy, and I enjoy it a lot. I hope you enjoyed watching this too, and thank you for taking the time to watch it. Stay safe, subscribe, like, all that stuff. But I hope you have a great day. Later.